government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Democracy, the rule of the people, stands as a cornerstone of modern political thought. Yet over 2 millennia ago, the Greek philosopher Aristotle offered a cautionary perspective. While acknowledging democracy's appeal, he harbored deep reservations about its susceptibility to instability and injustice. Aristotle's critique, rooted in the turbulent realities of ancient Greece, continues to resonate with remarkable relevance in today's world. His insights into the potential pitfalls of democracy, particularly its vulnerability to mob rule and demagoguery, offer valuable lessons for safeguarding and strengthening democratic principles in our time. Aristotle's analysis of democracy forms part of his broader examination of political systems detailed in his seminal work. He meticulously categorized governments based on the number of rulers and their primary motivations. This framework provides a lens through which to understand Aristotle's anxieties about democracy and his proposed solutions for achieving a more just and stable society. By delving into Aristotle's classification of governments, we can better grasp the foundation of his critique and its implications for both the ancient world and our modern political landscape. Aristotle identified 3 primary forms of government: monarchy, aristocracy, and polity. Monarchy, the rule of one, represented by a king or queen, had the potential for swift and decisive action. However, it was highly susceptible to tyranny, where the ruler prioritized personal gain over the common good. Aristocracy, the rule of the few, ideally embodied by virtuous and enlightened individuals, offered wisdom and experience. However, it could degenerate into oligarchy, where a wealthy elite exploited their power for personal enrichment at the expense of the masses. Polity, the rule of the many, aimed to balance the interests of different social groups. This system, which Aristotle considered the most stable and just form of government, relied on the active participation of citizens in political life. However, Aristotle recognized that even polity was not immune to corruption. He feared that democracy, a corrupted form of polity, could descend into mob rule. In such a scenario, the reasoned judgment of the majority would be replaced by the volatile passions of the crowd, leaving the state vulnerable to manipulation and instability. Aristotle identified several key flaws inherent in democratic systems that made them susceptible to chaos and injustice. He believed that democracy often prioritized equality over merit, leading to the election of unqualified individuals to positions of power. This lack of competence could have disastrous consequences for the state, particularly in times of crisis. Furthermore, Aristotle feared the tyranny of the majority, where the rights of minorities were trampled upon in the name of popular will. He recognized that democracy, without safeguards, could easily morph into a system where the loudest voices, rather than the most just or reasoned, held sway. Perhaps Aristotle's most prescient observation was the danger posed by demagogues in democratic societies. He understood that charismatic individuals could exploit the emotional vulnerabilities of the masses, using rhetoric and propaganda to stir up fear, resentment, and prejudice. Demagogues, appealing to base instincts rather than rational discourse, could sway public opinion and seize power, ultimately undermining the very foundations of democracy. Aristotle's warnings about the seductive power of demagoguery remain strikingly relevant in today's world, where misinformation, social media manipulation, and political polarization provide fertile ground for such figures to thrive. Aristotle's concerns about democracy were deeply rooted in his observations of Athenian democracy, a system that, while groundbreaking in its time, was also marked by periods of instability and injustice. The Athenian assembly, open to all male citizens, served as the primary decision-making body. While this direct democracy allowed for widespread participation, it also proved susceptible to manipulation by skilled orators who could sway the crowd with emotional appeals rather than sound arguments. One of the most infamous examples of democratic failure in Athens was the trial and execution of Socrates in 399 BCE. Socrates, a philosopher known for his critical thinking and questioning of authority, was accused of impiety and corrupting the youth. Despite his eloquent defense, the Athenian jury, swayed by the emotional pleas of his accusers, condemned him to death. This event exemplified the dangers of mob rule and the suppression of dissenting voices, even in a system celebrated for its democratic ideals. The tragic fate of Socrates served as a stark reminder of the fragility of democracy and the constant need for vigilance in safeguarding individual rights and rational discourse. Modern parallels: populism and the erosion of reason. The echoes of Aristotle's concerns about democracy reverberate throughout modern history and contemporary politics. The rise of populism in many parts of the world, characterized by its appeal to emotion over reason, its demonization of opponents, and its disregard for institutional norms, bears a striking resemblance to the demagoguery that Aristotle warned against. Populist leaders often exploit societal anxieties and divisions, offering simplistic solutions to complex problems and scapegoating minority groups to consolidate their power. The proliferation of misinformation and disinformation, amplified by social media, has further eroded the foundations of reasoned debate and critical thinking that are essential for a healthy democracy. The rapid spread of false or misleading information can manipulate public opinion, stoke fear and outrage, and undermine trust in established institutions. This digital landscape, where emotions often trump facts, provides fertile ground for demagogues to thrive and for the principles of democracy to be eroded from within. Polity: Aristotle's vision for balanced governance. In contrast to the potential excesses of democracy, Aristotle proposed polity as a more balanced and just form of government. He envisioned polity as a mixed constitution that combined elements of democracy, aristocracy, and even monarchy. This system aimed to prevent any one group from gaining too much power, ensuring that the interests of all citizens were represented and protected. Aristotle believed that a strong middle class was crucial for the success of polity, acting as a stabilizing force between the extremes of wealth and poverty. Central to Aristotle's concept of polity was the rule of law. He argued that laws impartially applied were essential for preventing arbitrary rule and protecting individual rights. Furthermore, Aristotle emphasized the importance of civic virtue and education in fostering responsible citizenship. He believed that citizens should be educated not only in their rights, but also in their responsibilities to the state and their fellow citizens. This emphasis on education aimed to cultivate a citizenry capable of engaging in reasoned debate, making informed decisions, and resisting the allure of demagoguery. Modern echoes of polity safeguarding democracy. While Aristotle's ideal polity might seem like a distant utopia, many modern democratic reforms reflect his core principles. Constitutional democracies, with their systems of checks and balances, separation of powers, and protection of individual rights, embody Aristotle's emphasis on limiting the power of any one branch of government and safeguarding against tyranny. Independent judiciaries, tasked with upholding the rule of law, serve as a bulwark against arbitrary rule and ensure that justice is administered fairly and impartially. Furthermore, the expansion of suffrage, granting voting rights to previously marginalized groups, reflects Aristotle's belief in the importance of widespread political participation. Modern democracies also recognize the crucial role of education in fostering informed and engaged citizens. Civic education programs, media literacy initiatives, and efforts to combat disinformation all aim to equip citizens with the critical thinking skills necessary to navigate the complexities of the political landscape and resist manipulation. Aristotle's legacy, a timeless guide for modern politics. Aristotle's critique of democracy, far from being an antiquated relic of the past, serves as a timeless reminder of the fragility of democratic institutions and the constant need for vigilance in safeguarding them. His insights into the dangers of mob rule, demagoguery, and the erosion of reason resonate with chilling relevance in today's world, where these forces continue to threaten the foundations of democratic societies. By heeding Aristotle's warnings and embracing his vision of a balanced and just society, we can work to strengthen democratic institutions, foster reasoned discourse, and resist the allure of simplistic solutions and divisive rhetoric. Ultimately, Aristotle's legacy lies in his enduring call for moderation, wisdom, and a commitment to the common good. principles that remain as essential today as they were in the ancient world for building and sustaining a just and flourishing society.